Can all be seated? You'll close when they finish. Yeah. Thank you very much. Our co-director, Sergeant Khoza, takes on from here. Thank you very much, the sound system media people, for taking us and making us famous on TV.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. My co-program director has already introduced me. I'm Sergeant Media Khoza. However, Horror Affairs decided to name me Media Khoza. I remember at some point reading one comment as I was at some one event, and a Facebook follower said, "Oh wow, Sergeant Media is in media." So it has become my nickname. However, I am Media Khoza. So we are on our second part of the program. As we proceed with the day, we are going to have our questions and answer session. If you feel the need to make any comment in all of the 4 commissions, please keep it brief and short. Right? We want to keep a time. The set time, what the target was 1,300 hours. However, I believe maybe we will overlap by 30 minutes or so. So if you want to make those inputs, please let us keep it as short as possible, but meaningful and constructive at the same time. So you might as well, in the meantime, make those notes, those who would wish to make any comments or inputs. And furthermore, there is Captain Chow for those who will be needing those presentations that were here. Feel free to approach her to have the copies of the presentations. I believe some of you have approached me. They want to go and take those presentations and also present them to their fellow colleagues from various provinces. We will await the Deputy Minister together with his entourage, so we proceed with our program. Okay, just to also kill time as well, I like to believe my co-program director has indicated that I hope all delegates are aware that we're only checking out tomorrow morning. Please enjoy your visa safely so and responsibly. We don't want to have videos on Twitter and social media platforms and bringing the organization into disrepute. As well, those who will be traveling and having to check out today, please do travel safe. Yes, we are live streaming. We are live streaming. Live streaming. Ladies and gentlemen, may we all rise as we receive the Deputy Minister together with his entourage. We may be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, we're continuing with our program. As I have indicated, I am the co-program director. Sergeant Medea Koza will be taking over from now on. I would like to call upon Mr. Masugu to come and facilitate the question and answer session. If there's any input that you want to make on the previous commissions that were presented, he will facilitate that. As I indicated earlier, please let us keep it brief and short, but as well constructive so that we have a meaningful input into those commissions. Mr. Masugu, you may ascend the stage.
Good afternoon, colleagues. I'll immediately say all protocol observed because it's an emotional end of salutation. But thank you very much for being here and for participating in the commissions. I think we had very robust discussions. We had people that were heavily committed to this Indaba, and the content has been very, very good and very useful. And please give our facilitators the round of applause. But I think most importantly, give yourself a round of applause for engaging with the process. So what we're going to do now is really to continue with the process of reflection. The meat has been put out there in terms of the content of Indaba. If there are any issues that perhaps need to be clarified, let's engage with them. If there are questions that are directed to specific people, let's engage with that process. But we're not going to be asking for presentations. By saying that, I am not asking people to really represent presentations that were part of the commissions. We understand it was a robust discussion. You may not have completely agreed on issues. But I think it's important to recognize that in such a huge gathering, there will be diverse of views and there will be diverse of opinions. So right now we're going to ask people that have got questions, and we've got roving mics. Mr. Masilela. We've got roving mics, so can you show by indicating in terms of hands, those that want to make contribution? I recognize you, Mr. Mlojwa. Our chair. So it's going to be, can I have the roving mics, please? Oh, maybe let me start at the back. Is there anyone at the back as you? Okay, let's come to Mr. Mlojwa is here. Okay, right, as we come to, yeah, let me recognize the gentleman there. Maybe just briefly who you are and then you the question, so that we have a context.
Good afternoon. Is it afternoon now?
Yes, it is.
To everyone, as per presenter protocol observed, my name is Sandy Letube. I'm the chairperson of the host Sunnyside, CPF. Perhaps for me, it's just to echo what came in our commission. I didn't get to hear in all other commissions. The taking of this Indaba to the basics where it belongs, from the station level to the district to the province, or vice versa. I would like to see that, so that community members will have a bite on it. Thank you.
Okay. I'm certain Brigadier Makai is taking note of that. Mr. Mlojwa.
Good afternoon. I didn't hear Use. Sir. Okay. Obviously, you've heard my name is Temba. I've been introduced several times. I don't want to question, I don't want to ask a question, but I just wanted to emphasize on 2 points. The first point would be what I think Commission 4 touched on, and I needed to put more emphasis on that, which is the nightclubs. I'm so very disappointed that the powers that be are not here now, but I would have wanted them to note that there are nightclubs that close at 4 and some close at 6. And to me, that does not make sense. It will never make sense now, not in a million years. You have a nightclub that closes at 4 o'clock in the morning. But that's not where I would want to go. Where I would like us to dwell on is an issue that says maybe with nightclubs, because quite a number of young people are patrons at those nightclubs. Shouldn't we then be making it compulsory for them to send certain messages? For instance, your GPV, before these people get drunk, why don't you send a message that talks about GPV? There are nightclubs, for instance, if you are here in Pretoria, there's a nightclub called Propaganda. It takes about 4,000 people in it. And the 4,000, I'm talking about 4,000 per day. Those 4,000 people, if that message is screened, is flashed on the screen, those people will see those messages on GPV and other related matters. Now that the National Commissioner is back, the issue of nightclubs that close at 4 o'clock, I don't know where that comes from. Because if you follow a person that's coming from a nightclub at 4 o'clock in the morning, you really can't overtake that person if you're driving. So I'm not really sure if powers that be can look into that. Let's reduce nighttime drinking to 12 o'clock, even less. And the very last would be the emphasis on trust between the communities and the police. That somebody took a stride on that, but I would want us to emphasize on that and say it's not only the station commander that must have that kind of a relationship with the community. It must be from the very lowest level, from the constable, that the station commander should have meetings with the with the constables, all ranks, up until you talk to the CPF in one meeting, so that it gels. It does not only become a relationship between the station commander, who at the end will say, these young ones will say, Abantu Bako, these are your people. So it must be emphasized to station commanders, and I thank you.
Okay. So I think that was just a general comment. So it's not a question that is directed to anybody. But welcome, Deputy Minister and the National Commissioner. It's a question and answer. Yes, my apologies because I can't see through the wall. So are there hands there? Please give them the mic. We can't hear. I think. No, the mic was off. Just come a little bit forward. Just come a little bit forward so that the camera can pick you up.
Good day. My name is Donovan Bates, Chairperson of the Eastern Cape Province of the Legends. I think I just need to maybe 2 points. One, that we spoke in the commission training. That was we mentioned that maybe when training comes, it's also look at the training, the reservist training, the basic reservist training will help the CPF members so that they can really cope when it comes or basically when it comes to training. Second point is, I don't know if it's community safety here, but we're usually sitting with the challenge no problem where CPF members is there for 5 years and in between they're getting new people come up and they are co-opted and those new people doesn't get inducted or trained. And the proposal or the idea is why not use those CPF members that is for years in CPF and make them training facilitators so that they can move in the respective districts so that they can have the training and assist the sessions with their thank you.
No, thank you. I think that point really it was very important. I think it comes from all commissions, the issue of training. That generally, if we are going to re-establish community policing as a concept, we really need to have people that are trained, not only from the community side, but also from the police side. Because one of the biggest failures in the whole concept, in the whole implementation, is just the misunderstanding of what community policing is. And we see in how the system is operating. So it's a theme that was quite broad that came, I think it comes from all the groups. Is there any other at the back? Let me just take at the back. I'll come to you, my leader. Please don't interfere with the mic. Just receive the mic and speak. Don't switch it and off because it's already on.
Thank you, facilitator. I'm Sam Mokako from Vereeniging Chairperson CPF from Gauteng Province. Mine is not necessarily to argue and debate the presentations, but to welcome the presentations and accept that these were multi-minds that were brought together to chart a way forward. But my main view that I wanted to raise across all commissions is that there's an element of ethical leadership that I did not hear any commission talking about. And the reality of the matter is, what makes it so difficult for us to win this battle is because of unbecoming behaviors, both on the side of the SAPS members and also on the community. And these are the things that we need to talk about. Issues of moral regeneration. I think this we need also to emphasize the importance thereof. But we can also not do that without making sure that at least there are consequence management on both sides so that we are able to be a better community, so that community can see from us how things should happen. And once we are able to do that, I think it will then restore the trust and confidence that the community needs to have in us as community and the law enforcement agencies. Maybe amongst others, the issue of lifestyle audit on both sides. Thank you.
Okay, I think that's a very important point. The issue of ethical leadership. So part of the re-establishment of this concept and re-establishment of community police forums requires that those that are entrusted with that responsibility do not have skeletons in their closet. So I think what you're saying is that they need to be some kind of vetting, including checking their, what kind of resources that, and where they get their resources from.
Thank you very
Leader
much,
here.
Program Director. My name is still Siphosla Sekhathaza, the National Chairperson of the Youth Crime Prevention Desk for the next 4 years and 1 month. Chair, just a comment. Firstly, let me welcome the presentation from the different commissions. My first comment, and I want to sponsor this view so that it reflects on Commission number 4, which speaks on the issue of marketing. We want a deliberate effort, particularly from the Minister, Deputy Minister, and the National Commissioner to market the CPF. I'm saying this because of they've got access to mainstream media. If a chairperson of the CPF appears next to the minister or deputy minister or national commissioner, it means that we have marketed it in almost close to 1 million people in one go. So we wanted to reflect. It must not stand as a buy-in. We don't know a buy-in from where. At least that one, it must reflect as such. Then the second contribution would be on Commission number 2. We spoke, Commission number 2 focuses on resourcing. So we've spoken about issues of, you know, policy, the amendment of acts and so forth. But also it is important, once we have done that work, the end goal is that in terms of resourcing, number 1, when you look at the budget vote, particularly program 2, the community policing programs.
Well, there is a solution here around what do you do when you're disposing assets. Perhaps we could be thinking of recycling those assets back into the system to allow communities to have minimum resources. Your laptops, your vehicles would make a huge difference in how CPF actually perform their duties. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Lieutenant Kenneth Sanaya from Western Cape. I think you did touch on the other point. Actually, I had 2 points. The first one is when they go for training, CPF, actually that training also must also, as SAPS, to have it so that we can move in one mind. We know what they are given, also we know, and then we move in one mind, okay? And the second one, I was just thinking that when you listen to all the commissioners that spoken here, they're all talking about resources, we need this, we need that, and my brother just spoke now. And I was thinking there are those 350 that has been given. I'm sorry, maybe I'm out of the point now. I'm just thinking that it's a lot of money. If we check one province, how many people are getting that 350? That is, what's the government, what? And then I'm not saying they must stop. I don't know what was the initial point to do that. But somewhere, there is money somewhere that can sponsor, because remember, the crime is the main thing that is a disease in South Africa. So why they don't focus on that? How are we gonna limit the crime or to get funds to fight the crime? But now, I know the other money has been, I'm not saying it's a waste, but in a sense, it's been given to 350 people. They wake up 9 o'clock, they go in queue for 350, didn't do nothing, it's got money for the month. Instead of taking that money and donate it to fight the crime in South Africa, since it's a problem, you know the GPV, you know a lot of things, the rapes and everything. That money can be donated on that, and then we have resources.
The 350, I'm going to leave it to the Deputy Minister. Because that's a government issue there. Issue of social security, it's a very sensitive issue. I think it's way too bigger than me. The Deputy Minister is here, the National Commissioner is here. They would deal with that one. But I think the point that you're saying that potentially there are resources somewhere. And these resources should be unlocked to make sure that there is enough resources in communities to fight a crime. I think that's your message basically that you're putting out there. But Layer 350, Ubabo is going to deal with it.
Good day. I'm Kobani Charles Marakala from UNISA Police Practice. My first comment is that I hear that we started with the prayer from the first day, and the pastor said to raise up and build. Even today, the pastor repeated that, meaning we need to find the recommendation of how are we going to establish research Indaba policing. Then we see the result for the next research Indaba. We need to come up with the solution that we invite different communities from different provinces so that we can hear the voice of the community in the research Indaba. First one. The second one is that I'm youth network project leader at UNISA, and we have a project that running around South Africa. So I would like to invite different stakeholders on the 16th of June, because it's a youth day. Then I chose that day because of it's a youth day to participate at Mokopane for substance abuse and drug abuse. So those who are available, then so that I can put you on the program.
Yeah.
The next one is that I heard that they talk about the training. I'm leading the course in anti-corruption and commercial crime investigation, which is a short course at UNISA, is a one-year course, where maybe CPF, they can just get that course for the training.
Yeah,
If possible, we can implement that, then we'll see how we can do it.
Maybe we can use another platform to market ourselves, because I also have a lot to say as well around what I want to, the support that I need. So maybe this is not the platform for marketing purposes, but we appreciate the good work that UNISA is doing. And I think colleagues here that are organizing this Indaba, they've really done very well in bringing all provinces here. So if someone doesn't see that everyone from every province is here, then you need to recheck again to say maybe you missed something. This is a community in South Africa that is gathered here. Everybody is here. Yes, at the back.
Good day, everyone. May I indicate I'm Modimukwane Lehote. I'm from the Department of Social Development, Social Crime Prevention. Chair, in the comments from the commissions, but I want to really applaud Commission 1. It really did extensive work which need to be recognized as such. Not to say other commissions like the one I belong to didn't do a lot of work, but Commission 1 did too much work that needs to be taken serious. My point is, looking even at Commission 1, institutional arrangement, you know, I heard it coming from many provinces talking about the constitution, and that is not flowing now of the CPF. One would ask, I'm talking out of 10, one would ask, what is the national body on CPF having to do with giving guidance to provinces in terms of the constitution? I might be talking out of hindsight that We are having a structure that is sitting at national, talking on an Indaba at the national level. I did not recall hearing anyone saying, I'm a representative from the national CPF. That may bring a disjuncture even after we have collated all the efforts and put them afore, for a body that will ensure that something is going to run with the resolutions of this Indaba. I'm just thinking of that. My second point is at integration, Commission 3. You know, it doesn't make sense to have a structure, but that structure doesn't have an action plan that will ensure that there is something that is happening, that will ensure issues that we've talked about in terms of monitoring and evaluation. You look into our communities, each and every crime prevention campaign or drive is run from a small corner. When you have a crime prevention structure that is even appointed or established accordingly, your CPF, which would call for an integrated plan comprising of all participants that have been listed as role players to contribute their plan into the CPF so that they can be coordinated from that body. My sister there was talking about non-availability of funds. Yes, there is a lot of money. If I'm coming from social development, from social crime prevention, and I'm going to be running an activity, if I can bring on board that activity to be run from the CPF with all the stakeholders, bringing all their resources towards that activity, it will ensure that there is utilization of budget appropriately and reaching out to many people as we can. Thank you.
Want to go? The national is well representative. I'm sure the chairperson has noted your comments, and I'm sure they're engaged with the process as well in terms of beyond this, how are they also going to be involved in taking forward some of the thinking and some of the conversations that are coming from here, because they directly affect them. And I'm sure not just the national, but also the provincial CPF boards and everybody who is seized with the issues around community policing are taking notes, and they will take things forward. Yes, Baba.
Ndiyabulela Mhlekazi. My name is Jimmy. I am from a state within the 8 provinces of the country, which is Free State. Nivile Ndiyathemba. I am from the state when we have 8 provinces and the state, which is Free State. Basically, my take is on the very first commission to say we need to get a clarity as to the amendments on all sections mentioned by that commission on Police Act to can flexibly accommodate everything that has been said as it has been articulated clearly by that commission. We are ahead, so one is tempted to ask a question that are we not here for a talk show, as nobody is going to advance or push all things that we did for the past 3 days to ensure that they are fully implemented. All things that I do believe that are a concern to both CPF members from the community in particular and the police have been articulated clearly by that commission and all commissions. Let me for now rest my case in Ndiyabulela.
Okay. Deboko, back. Okay, come to you.
No, thanks, Chairperson. I'm Tebogo Molapo. I'm the provincial chairperson for the Northern Cape Board. Chair, we are crying foul about structures that we need to integrate into the CPF. But Chair, we are having pastor daemons there at the level of national, province, district. And we don't have these structures at the level of stations. Since they are summit, they are national summit and provincial summits. We have a youth in the service that we also do not see its involvement in the national structure itself, but in some provinces where you see its involvement in some provinces. So this Indaba must correct that thing to say that the division will keep these structures away from the CPFs and saying that they are not accounting to CPFs. Yet these are substructures of the CPF. So this Indaba must correct this thing to say that these are substructures of the CPF. If we want to make an impact, we cannot make impact in silo, having these structures doing their own thing there, while the CPF is doing its own thing there. So these structures, it must be understood that they are substructures of the CPF, so that their programs can find expression in the overall program of the CPF, and we don't have parallel programs and programs. Thank you, sir.
I think it's an important point. I think the point that you're making is very important, that in the re-establishment of a community police forums, there needs to be serious thinking about coordination. Because if you go back to that concept of community policing works when there's collaboration and partnerships. The issue of a silo effect is what perhaps has weakened the ability to collectively address the issues of crime. So your point, Tebogo, is simply that these community structures that are seized with these issues of crime and violence, they must be coordinated under a body. And you're saying that they must be coordinated under the community police forums. So there are two hands here. Yes, ma'am, and then give it, yeah.
Thank you, Chair of the Chair, and greetings to everyone. And let me not forget to acknowledge, my name is Caroline Oyiya. I'm coming from Sunnyside, CPF, I'm the PRO, I'm the host. Mine, it's a submission to the senior management when they will be doing a wrap-up. My submission, I would like to welcome all the 4 commissions. The submissions that goes to the senior management, they need to look on the turnaround strategy, which is very important. The second one is turnaround time, referring to the implementation dates, which we want in the next future. Thank you so much, Chair.
Thank you. Implementation dates, implementation plan, important.
Good morning to the Deputy Minister of Police, the National Commissioner of Police General Simola. My name is Colonel Mahlaku Mphahlele. I'm coming from the Division Visible Policing and Operations. My submission is to say, in my take, the Community Policing Forum, or the reason behind the community policing, was other than to bridge the hostility gap or the dealing with trust issues between the police and the community, was to ensure that we implement an evidence-based policing. So what I want to say is to challenge ourselves when we go out of this Indaba, to say, as we are getting into the next excellent award, can we make it to be part of what we'll be looking into, to say, for the CPF or the stations that we say they've worked well, which kind of programs did they come up with issues which contributed to taking our young ones, the youth, out of the streets, but also contributed to bringing the crime levels in their different policing area down. So that is to challenge ourselves both as police officers and also as the community in the community police forums. Thank you.
Okay. There's a gentleman at the back. Are you still your hand up? No? Okay, there's one at the front, Masilela here.
One, two. Thanks, Chair. My name is Nhlanhla Ndlela from the last Battalion Anti-Crime Unit. On the opening for today, I heard the Reverend speaking about gatekeepers, which is something that is a big challenge. I'd like to speak to the station commanders that are here. In the communities, we are fighting crime. Everyone crime. I'd like to challenge the station commanders in the various police stations that they must work also with the anti-crime units that are there in the communities. Because at some point, they will be doing work to fight crime, and when the criminals are being captured, there is no one to assist at the police station. So my submission is all the station commanders.
It might be battery.
All the members in the police station must work with CPF, must also work with the anti-crime unit that are there in the community. Thank you.
It's a fair point. So there's Masilela at the front here. The last one.
My name is TJ Masilela. I'm the chairperson of Gauteng Provincial Community Police Board. I also happen to lead the public relations of the national structure.
Just switch it on and off again.
DM must just mention that we don't have CSP today here. And it's a very worrying thing. Because the training we're talking about, that everyone has been talking about training, have taken that into consideration, and maybe give us an idea of the work that has been done in as far as, because there is work that has been done. We came from VET last year, we did 3 courses, and there's a lot. And one of the courses we did was train the trainer, which we must then roll out to provinces on the CPF environment. So there's a lot of work that has been done, but I would have loved the CS to answer for themselves. But there's a lot of funding for training. DM, me and you will know that. SASITA is the biggest training. That we just need minister and deputy minister to enable those funds from those institutions. Millions are returned back from the sitters. We don't, there's a lot of money for training. Thank you.
Okay, that brings us to the end. Unfortunately, can I squeeze one? There's a problem with the mic as well. That's another problem that we have to close this. Yeah. I think because you're insisting and your point, we would want to miss that one because you're going to break all the protocols now.
Thanks, Mr. Facilitator. Brown Walaza, the chairperson. in the Northwest Province. I've got two takes that are a burning issue. I didn't hear it hitting it right on the nail when we were getting the presentations. This is a real burning issue of no money actually there. We are also dealing and working with an interim, what's name, constitution. Why don't we interimly have something going to these members while still waiting for this to take place? To me is, we believe that this is got something for us, for everybody. And then if interimly we put it into practice, then it guarantees coming. That's the point number one. The other point that I wanted to make is, in relation to that, maybe put in terms of the S&Ts, as from today, of course, the S&Ts and the sitting allowance, that will facilitate definitely the people going and attending meetings, because if you check, especially as it comes to the district, it may be a little bit easier when it goes to the province, because the province may have the budget. But when it comes to the district, we may not agree, but it's like that. District never had budget. So it would be a problem to get these guys to go to any meetings. But if there was S&T and the sitting allowance, I guarantee you I would borrow a car and go there. Thank you.
I suspected it had to do with money. When someone rushes to the podium and it's a burning issue, money must be involved. But the issue of incentive did come out, issue of allowance did come out in various commissions. But as I sit down now, DM, I think it's very clear that in the re-establishment of community police forums, we need to go back to that foundation of community policing and find traction and rethink about exactly what is this structure supposed to look like? So that then when resources are brought into making sure that this structure is effective, that there are governance and accountability systems in place that will make sure that it does not operate as it used to be. Because part of the challenges is that we're here in this Indaba, and there's been an acknowledgement that it is not operating effectively. So thank you very much for all your contributions. All your inputs have been taken on board, they've been written, and we're looking forward to the next phase of the writing the report and making sure that it's properly presented in all the structures that are relevant. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Masuku. I'm not quite sure whether the Deputy Minister has taken note of the inputs as well as the questions that arise from the platform. Maybe you would want to make a response before we move to the next item, or the National Commission.
Mr. Homan, word of commitment. If he is not here, we will get the National Commissioner to give us the way forward.
Thank you very much, Deputy Minister of Police, Ndade Castle Matale, Mr. Homan, the National Chairperson of the NCPCF, all members of the NCPCF. I've seen some around here, don't know whether they're all here. The provincial commissioners and divisional commissioners present here today. I'm aware you have been here for the past 2 days. The acting secretary of Civilian Secretariat, Mr. Ramaro, the deputy chairperson of the National House of Traditional Leaders, representative of the Moral Regeneration Movement, and all members of the clergy, National Youth Crime Prevention Steering Committee, Chair Mr. Rataza, representatives of the labor unions, POPCRU and SAPU, all stakeholders that are present here today. Without choosing, let me say all protocol is observed. Good afternoon. I believe, yes, it's good afternoon, and I'm happy to join you. I missed you for the last 2 days. I hope you also missed me. Certain things, there are certain things you can plan, but there are certain things that you cannot refuse. When the head of state is calling you for a meeting, you have no option but to go. So that is where I was the past 2 days, but thanks for that. I was at least to make it on the last day. DM, I must say that I was very fortunate that the timing when I arrived this morning, I just arrived at the right time. I was worried that I'll find that feedback, but thanks, I just happened to come at the right time. And I'm not going to make a nice long speech. There are few principles that I would want to lay down and just remind us. The first one is that Community Police Forum, by its nature, it means the community and the police. So there is no structure called Community Police Forum if neither of one of the two parties is not there. I've listened when commissions were giving feedbacks, and of course I've seen as I move across the country, it's quite, the formations are diverse and different. There are certain provinces where you find the structure is purely the community, but we need to understand that Community Police Forum is the partnership of the two, the community and the police. Then that is called CPF. And it does not mean the chairperson of the CPF and the station commander and the community police officer or the coordinator. No, that's not a CPF. It refers to the management of the police station should form part of the CPF. From your detective, everybody, they are part of the CPF. It's not, CPF is not the terrain for the station commander and the coordinator. No, all should be involved. And let's understand it from there. I know that most of you knows, but I think there might be, maybe the way we practice it might be creating a problem. As you are aware that the President, once more again, he did call during the SONA this year, His Excellency President Cyril Ramaphosa, during his State of the Nation address, February this year, again he emphasized the need to strengthen cooperation between communities and the police. We emphasize that we should look at ourselves and say, are we still intact, or is there a need to resuscitate? Is there a need to renew partnership in certain areas? I know that most of the provincial board chairpersons are here, but there will be some, I'm sure, station CPF chairpersons. We should take note that we are in this relationship because of the law, because of how the country, the constitution of this country put us. It's not whether we like or not, or we think, or it is a partnership that we cannot move away from. And we should equally respect one another during this journey of the partnership. And we should work together for the benefit of the community. The CPF chairperson should not work in the mercy of the station commander. Work independently with the rest of the communities and the rest of the police, so that we bring the national structure, yes, as it was said by various commissions, it is not there in the legislation. And the Civilian Secretariat of Police, they almost finished with the drafting of the new bill, the Amendment Police Act, which it will be finalized in future, but there is still time to improve matters of CPF in that legislation, and it will be done. But as we move on, we should move on with understanding that we need to work together. I've seen a little bit somehow a little bit different understandings in terms of other various structures that are functioning out there. I had their anti-crime structures in various communities, but it is our job, the Community Police Forum at the local level, that must go out and invite those structures to come and be part of CPF. If we are really in charge and in control, you can't have Community Police Forum and have some other 20-odd names running parallel, and the CPF to bring those people on board. There's nothing wrong if community patrol, if somebody commit a crime, they arrest him. And when they arrest, police should be there to take the person, make sure that the person accounts for what he have done wrong in the community. So let's not leave those structures to run on their own. Let's bring them in so that they form part of the bigger community structures. There is a colleague that spoke about the matter of the clubs that close very, very late at 4. It is unfortunate that the Liquor Act of this country and the various provincial liquor acts of the various provinces differs. And in majority, the closing time, as far as I know, in majority is 2 o'clock in the morning. But I know, for example, in Eastern Cape, the municipality can extend the closing time by just signing a letter of permit. So it goes on in other provinces. There is, however, a liquor amendment bill that has been completed, which I know Vispol and detectives have been involved quite a lot, which, if it can be implemented, can assist us a lot, because it really addresses all these problems that we have in the country. But it is that law is managed by the Department of Trade and Industry, the DTIC, and we have been, I think during COVID times, we pushed that bill to be taken on board and become a law. They are still busy, but we'll keep on making sure that that bill becomes a law because it addresses most of our challenges in the country. You will be aware that crime in South Africa mostly is driven by alcohol and to an extent other substances, but alcohol is the main enemy of our people. I heard one speaker earlier said, yeah, on the bottle they do write, drink responsibly. The manufacturers of alcohol. I don't think they are really serious. I don't think it's an awareness what they are doing. I mean, you can't give somebody something that makes you drunk and say drink responsibly. What actually are you saying? They give you medication. They do write 2 tablets 3 times a day. You know it's in the morning, it's in the afternoon, it's in the evening. But if you give somebody a prescription and say drink responsibly, what do you mean? That's irresponsible. It's not responsibly. That is irresponsible. That is more business orientated. And of late I've seen, I engage like Ndimani, the national chairperson of all the drinkers or the taverners. I engaged him. Of late I've seen there is this beer that has been manufactured. It's 1 liter. 1 liter, moving from 750 milliliter to 1 liter. And they say, no, they just make it easy so that you don't buy frequently. But my argument with him is no, it's not the case. Actually, that 1 liter is promoting drunkenness in the country. Because what it means is that once you buy the 1 liter, you drink it. When it starts getting hot, you compete with temperature. So that before it gets hot, you have finished it. And once you finish, you can't just stop. You go and buy another one. Halfway, you start competing again with the temperature. And that means you drink more than what you should have drank. So I was fighting with him that they must ban that thing and remain with the 750. But that is the areas that we should also raise and fight as a society together with you, the CPFs. Commissions have presented, and they, of course, don't look all the answers on the deputy minister and the national commissioner and or the minister. You also do have the answers of questions that you raise. You raise questions, you are going to provide answers yourself. There are areas, yes, that we will provide answers from the management and the ministry, but in most of the areas, it will be yourself. The tools of trade, yes, we will provide. How far, we'll still sit with the national body and make sure that it is provided. I'm not sure whether it's the current year, but it looks like this very current year. It might not reach all of us, but indeed there will be provision of the tools of trade. So what we are going to do is that the national body led by Ndate Homan should form a task team, because you can't form a task team on top of the national body that we have, the NCPCF. We'll have to co-opt some of you as a task team and take all the resolutions that of the input of the commissions and turn them into a project plan and make sure that every month they give feedback in terms of how far we are with the deliverables. With the first sitting should be the very next month of June. Mr. Homan, Not sure whether he's back, at least, but I've also seen that he's quite severely under flu. They should sit the very next month and produce an action plan out of the commission inputs, and we start implementing. Yes, I agree, let's go and host the provincial Indaba so that we can hear what is there at the stations, assist and direct them and empower them. Because the best place where CPF should work is at the station level or at the sector forums. That's where delivery is. So I urge on all of you to make sure that we turn all these inputs by commissions into resolutions that will then meet in the future. The provinces must come up with dates as to when are they going to host the provincial Indaba. Funding, it is there, they do have. It's a matter of when are they going to host. And after that has been done, we'll then come back and implement together. The issue of the matter of the Police Amendment Act, unfortunately, we cannot fast track more than what we can do. But it doesn't mean we can't do anything before that law is amended. There is a lot that we can do. There is a lot that we can do together. But the key takeoff is, let's not look to say we expect the management, the ministry. No, we should do it ourselves. From our side, we'll provide the tools, and let's put hands together and work. I know the issue of stipend is a very hot potato. We are fighting day and night to make that happen. But unfortunately, definitely realize, but there will be areas where there will be funding, where CPF members will definitely not struggle with tools as they do their work. I know there was a CPF chairperson that he wasn't fighting, but he just demanded that he want to do his work better, but he doesn't have a car. I think it was the CPF chairperson of Mtanzane. I'm aware some of you do have little bit wheels, vehicles to move, but not all of you. But I know that he fought that he want a vehicle for CPF, too much work, and he was given the vehicle. But most of you will definitely get, but we might not get all of us in the very same financial year. But majority of you will definitely get the tools of trade, like your airtime. And so, Ms. Lucas, you had some pictures there. Yeah, most of the money part, yes, stipend is not the one that will not easily come now, but everything that is there, there's no reason why you would get it this current financial year. There's no reason why. It might not be the 1,150 something station, but majority of you will definitely be able to move forward. Let me take the opportunity to thank you and commit that me and the national body will meet as early as next week, whether virtual or physical, and from there, that body will meet monthly and will give you feedback. By the time you host your provincial Indabas, the national body should be giving feedback at each provincial Indaba as to how far we have gone with the implementation. So with those words, let me thank all of you for making time to come here, and thank the provincial commissioners and divisional commissioners for being here for this week. I know it's very cold. Some of you come from warm provinces. With those words, until I meet with the national body, thank you very much, and let's stay committed. Thank you.
Thank you, General. We're now moving on to the next item, which is signing off the pledge, and it will be led by the Deputy Minister of Police, Mr. Kasal Matal. I will just quickly read through the pledge as it will be signed. Community Policing Indaba, South African Police pledges to enhance community policing. The South African Police Service, working together with community police forums and other key stakeholders, pledges to serve and protect people in South Africa. To achieve this, we will treat every person fairly, with dignity, respect, as well as ensuring access to all our services. Collaborate with all stakeholders to enhance police accountability in all communities to ensure all people in the country are and feel safe. Ensure community policing forums, neighborhood structures, and police officers accessible. Timelessly and politely respond to service, and where necessary, refer community members to responsible authorities. Strengthen and enhance collaboration by ensuring there are regular CPF meetings to address priorities and enhance accountability. Provide regular updates to the communities as issues pertaining to crime-fighting initiatives and cases progress within the criminal justice system. Have a zero-tolerance approach to corruption, allegations, and timelessly, swiftly deal with such issues. Provide regular and timeless feedback to victims of crime regarding the progress of their cases. Timelessly address to enhance public trust and confidence in policing, and address our shortcomings to enhance service offering. This is our pledge to the community. I will request also the National Commissioner of the South African Police Service, General. He can be followed by all the divisional commissioners present, as well as the provincial commissioners present. The national chairperson from the CPF, Mr. Woman. From the Fed-based organization, represented by Reverend Damons. And also from the Business Against Crime South Africa, Mr. Berger. From the Consumer Goods Council, Mrs. Chikwe, the CEO from the Consumer Goods Council. And we continue. Sicele Inkosi Umavuso to also come and also commit to the pledge. Our labor unions representative, Mrs. Mkize, as well as Comrade Lusenga. A representative from the Civilian Secretariat present today can also come. And a representative from UNISA, Mr. Marakalala, to also come and pledge.
It's coming.
The Youth Crime Prevention Chairperson, Mr. Khataza. And lastly, from one of the metros, the director, Unkuna, from Tshwane Metro, can also come and represent all the metros in the Gauteng province. And not necessarily only Gauteng province, but all the metros in the country. Thank you. Let's give him a round of applause. We have almost come to the end of our program. I'm therefore going to call upon the Deputy Minister of Police, Mr. Kasal Matale, to give us the closing remarks. May we all rise.
Please be seated. My apologies, Program Director, for disrupting your program. I felt I must not stand twice here, and come and say the same thing using different words. That's why I then disorganized you. My apologies. Program Directors, National Commissioner of the South African Police Service, General Masemula, Divisional Commissioners present here. I have seen Lieutenant General Stamani. I think you are the only one who is here. Provincial commissioners that are here, and especially Lieutenant General Kwena. You represented everybody very well this morning. I acknowledge your presence. Representatives of young people, youth against crime, Okhataz. My apologies for addressing you inappropriately on Wednesday, because I said you are an interim structure, and you clarified that point. And indeed, I was there in KZN at your conference. But for some reason, my notes reflected something else. My sincere apologies to you. To the national leadership led by Mr. Homan, officers present here, Undabezita, from the National House of Traditional Leaders who have been here with us since Wednesday till today. We appreciate your presence here, Your Excellency. representatives of the religious bodies, business, community-based organizations, CPFs, and everybody present here, police officers, and Lieutenant Colonel who want to abolish the 350. Everybody present, and our host, General Matonsi, and your team. You are doing a good job. I heard everything that was said on Wednesday and today, except yesterday because I had to go to Cape Town for work commitment. And I had a session with the National Commissioner, and in that interface, he was saying that General Musikidi will be with us here because he had to do something with the minister. And I said, okay, but I think he decided that it will be appropriate that he comes here at this important gathering. This is an important meeting, a very, 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 very important meeting in the calendar of the South African police and the people of South Africa. That's why he's here. And this is not a talk shop, it's not a talk shop. No. I'm not in Cape Town. I'm here with yourselves because this is a very, 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 very important meeting in our fight against crime. So it's a serious matter, very, very serious. That's why we're here. We are here because we are committed to the work of the fight against crime. This is not our journey. This is a journey that was started by those who came before us, led by President Nelson Mandela, the first president of the Republic of South Africa, who said we must work together to create a better life for all our people. In the fight against crime, in any other thing that we do as government, we must work together with our people. That's why you then came to have community policing emerging out of that philosophical approach. And it is not necessarily the Nelson Mandela who generated this approach. This approach is as African as you can want to understand it. The way we speak, the proverbs and everything that we have, it's about people working together. I come from a village called Dan Village in Tzanini, where ibulabula kuloko irile. Loko ikola ikule ba ibzela ko re nte hore ngware no se hobe. Loko la ku nusa to hobe ungenisa xiandla unusa. When you want to scoop beans, you don't use a finger. You scoop them with your hand. But if you put a finger, you will come with nothing. And then, because I am two in one, because of the languages that we speak up north. Then, mapedi ba re mphiri tre gaolle. An iron rod on its own, it doesn't make sound. For it to make sound, you must make them, you must hit, you must, what you better check. Then there will be sound. Those, you go to Emakoseni, you go to those who speak Zulu, you go to those who speak Venda, You go to anywhere in the continent, that's who we are, working together. Ke le tjema. So even this is part of that process. And we must understand it appropriately, the program. The President of the Republic made a clarion call that General Masemola spoke to now here, that we are here as part of responding to the call of the President. So we are on the footsteps of and we'll continue this journey until we get this thing right. We agree totally with everything that the commissions have recommended. We agree with everything. And we are going to work with you to ensure that we realize what is contained in the resolutions that we adopted here. And these, mind you, are not your record, because you know some of you think you are community members better than others. We are all community members, by the way. I just happen to be a deputy minister, but I'm a community member from Kwankwa Township. Equally is General Masemola, is a community member from Masemola. So these are our resolutions effectively. And these resolutions will be implemented. Of course, there are things we will be able to do, there are things we are not going to be able to do. We have been having a very serious battle in the police with the management. That out of this rock, there must be water out of this rock. And that rock was refusing to yield water. But it was beaten until it released something that looks like water. But it's not enough, that water. The CFO came and gave us a figure that this is what we can do for community policing. Then we said, General Masemola, you must go and meet with her and try and find something out of what she's saying, because we're not agreeing. They went, they came back, they said something like people ended up allowing the item to pass, not because they agree. It's going to be a struggle that we must continue to wage until we achieve what we want to achieve. From 0 to a figure is not appropriate, but we must continue to deal with that. And I think when we are ready, we will make some pronouncements that respond to the things that you have raised here in terms of what needs to be done. But definitely, we are responding. We are going to respond. The act will be amended, but we can't lie to you and say we are going to amend it today. It's not going to happen. Not this year, because the only piece of legislation we are going to process this financial year is the IPID amendment bill. In the next financial year, the South African Police Service Act will be amended. That is 2024, 2025. Yeah. We will effect those amendments, and you will make further contributions to the processes that will ultimately lead into a new act that will be reflective of where we are as a country and what we need to do with regard to policing. I think maybe it will be right to respond to a little bit to what the Lieutenant Colonel said. The 350 rand that we give out, I think it benefits about 18 million South Africans. The state of affairs in the country is not good. People are unemployed. People don't have the means to put bread on the table. There is a need for intervention. We are a responsible government, and we have to act responsibly. And in that, we had to make sure that it is possible for people to put bread on the table. It's too little, but it can make a difference, and it is making a difference to the lives of our people. That's 350. It's not only that, I think you know the types of intervention we are making in the country of children without families, that can't feed themselves, of young children who have children who can't look after those children. The state is feeding those people because we don't want to be an irresponsible government that allows young kids to starve to death while you have the capacity to intervene. In other parts of the world, the children die of malnutrition because they don't have the ability to put bread on the table. We can't allow that in South Africa. That's why we are intervening in the way we do, in the manner in which we do. Yes, we must address the issue of the CPS, but we can't address it by creating a problem. You know, in this COVID, the pandemic we have gone through, that thing was real, and its impact was real. People have lost their jobs. People have lost the shops, or they've closed the shops that they were owning. People who were business people today are no longer business people. They have closed because of that pandemic. We had to respond as a responsible government to address a challenge faced by our people. We did not solve the problem. The problem remains. And like I said, 350 is 350. Those of you who come up north, you know that in the north, Rejabogobe fruhu, we eat pap in the morning, we eat pap during the day, we eat pap in the evening. Up north, we buy this bag of milli of this size. If you are given 350, it can't sustain you. It can't sustain you. It's just that it just makes a contribution. I just thought I must further talk to it. Maybe they must do some kind of work. I hear you are saying that we must encourage people to do something to get that money. Maybe it's a discussion that we must have as a country and see how we go about it. But yes, I must not take this platform and start to talk like I was doing the first day. I have been asked to do closing remarks. It's just that I got carried and said things that was necessary, but I must not. Kiskaya lolo lolo. You have had 3 long days here, but from the bottom of my heart, like the commissioner said, Brigadier here said, you were in commissions, they were monitoring you, they're coming to check whether you were there. And you stayed in the commissions the whole day yesterday, and you are still a full house today on the last day of the meeting. In most cases, people go to conferences. The last day of the meeting, you find empty chairs here. You even wonder whether there was a conference. But here you are, still full house. I think for that we should thank you.